Hey guys, welcome back to Punchline Cooking with Corey. Today I'm going to talk about how to make healthy meals at home relatively fast, right? So as a single parent and someone who works, I do have some Brussels sprouts in the oven. Those are getting the moisture out. I washed them off. I wanted to take the moisture off. So those have been in there about 10 minutes already. I've got some chicken breast here, and I love these different colored little russet classic potatoes. I don't know that is that what they're called? I always get it wrong. Gemstone potatoes. Gemstone, because they look like little jewels of the dirt, if you will. So one of the things that always kind of weighs on my mind is I want to make sure that my sons are eating healthy no matter how much time I have. So I'm sure that a lot of us can identify that as a single parent. And so besides doing segments like this, where we're going to try and do this in real time, 15 minutes, 20 minutes-ish for an entire dinner, we also had some ideas here. Mary Beth came up with a really good idea from Slyman about having one of our other hosts on, Ashley Mayland, and talking about mental health while we talk about healthy cooking. So that's something we could possibly do. We also definitely want to look at on a budget. So some of the guys that we work with are in their early to mid 20s, right? Pretty much everybody we work with. Lucas, you're still in college. And my eldest son is in college. So a fun segment I thought would be to get some of these college guys on here and show them what we can do for a meal for $5, $10. It can still be done these days, and a lot of it has to do with ramen and peanut butter, but you can still have, Lucas, you're in college right now. Yeah. Has anyone ever made Thai noodles out of ramen and peanut butter?
Yeah, that's happened before.
It's happened, right? So like there's all these little creative things you can do and add variety to it, especially if you're only gonna have like a hot plate in your dorm. So we're gonna do a lot of fun stuff. Today I'm gonna start off with, we're gonna do some Brussels sprouts. Now I washed my Brussels sprouts and I'm drying them out, taking that moisture out a little bit, and then I'm gonna put them in a pan and I'm gonna saute them with some Mike's Hot Honey and some raspberry jam, okay? So that's gonna caramelize on the outside, but I wanted to bake them first so that they're not too squishy and too moist. And then within here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my little heirloom potatoes. All I've done so far is wash these off. And I'm gonna add them to this pot of boiling water here. We're gonna get this going. I'm gonna boil it down, I'm gonna strain them, and I'll mash them up. And we'll have a nice, colorful, chunky mashed potato that you should be able to mash with a fork. So it won't take all that long. Make sure this is all the way up. 2 times. And with this induction oven from Wolf, you will see things happen incredibly fast. Up until this last year, I was always a gas man. You know, if you ask me electric over gas, when it comes to cooking, it's kind of the same thing about charcoal over gas, right? Like the purists like the gasoline or the charcoal, but this thing's phenomenal. Look, you saw me push that button. Again, no editing done. It's boiling already. There's bubbles coming up to the top. It's been less than a minute, and I've got it full of potatoes, and it's already starting to bubble up. So while that's happening, I'll leave those in there for 2 more minutes. While we do that, I'm gonna go ahead and prep this chicken. So this whole thing is kind of going in an array that's fairly quick, but what's neat about this stuff is this meal will be done relatively quick. Olive oil. I'm just gonna take my chicken breast. I'm gonna do my induction oven, see how quick this one goes too. Boom, bam, boom. Get that sucker rocking there. Set my chicken breast in. Fat side down first. All right, take this and put a little salt. Now don't worry, I'm gonna use a lot more seasoning, just salt and pepper on my chicken. I know that's a whole thing, the bland chicken stuff. So I wanna get a little bit of seasoning on each side though. I'm gonna sear that bottom part, just so I don't know why I get all hunchy. I notice I do that a lot. I don't know if anybody out there has talked about or seen the memes for office prawning, but apparently like when you're sitting at your desk and you're like this in front of your computer, you're shaped like a prawn. The first time I saw it, I thought that was really hilarious. So I catch myself not only office prawning, but I catch myself driving like a prawn, standing like a prawn. I'm very hunch prawned, if you will. Like accident prone, but hunch prawn. What's your look of disbelief, Lucas? Oh, you're just thinking about it? Sam, you spend a lot of time at the computer as an editor. Sam's just out of frame here, taking some other shots that you'll see in the final object. Do you ever find yourself prawning, Sam?
Oh yeah. I got neck exercises to kind of fix that.
Now, Lucas, you're 20 years old.
Right.
So you probably don't have any back or neck ailments yet, right?
No.
Are you looking forward to it?
Not really. I have little injuries though from track, so there you go.
Right. Something I didn't know you couldn't do. Look at that boil. Something I didn't know you couldn't do when I was younger is wear ankle weights every single day, all day. And my objective was to try and be able to dunk the basketball, but what I did was just ruin my knees. Ruined my knees. All right, I'm adding a little more oil to this. These things get going so fast. I got my seasoning on the chicken. I'm gonna pull out my Brussels sprouts now. So right now, we're probably 8 minutes into this whole ordeal, and we're more than halfway done. So the hardest part is actually the most fun part for me, and that is chopping these little suckers up and then getting them ready to go into a pan. So while I get these prepped off of here and onto the cutting board for our next step, we're gonna take a quick commercial break for our sponsors, and we'll be right back with you to finish this meal.
He once fell asleep 4 seconds into a 30-minute bull ride in a rodeo. When Frankie Goes to Hollywood sang about relaxing, Cam Jansen is who he had in mind. Tortoises have to stop and wait for him to catch up. He is the most relaxed man in St. Louis.
I don't always relax in hot tubs, but when I do, I relax in master spas by Spas and More. Stay relaxed, my friends.
Welcome back. So I'm taking the Brussels sprouts off. I'm gonna cut them down into little bite-sized pieces before I saute them. We've got all the moisture out, but I'm gonna switch the chicken. So now I'm gonna add the chicken to the oven so it can finish cooking all the way through. It's got a nice sear on it, seasoned well. And then I'm gonna decaramelize this pan a little bit with some starchy water from the potatoes. So I incorporate everything into one, right? And then we're gonna put the Brussels sprouts into this pan. But I'm gonna take some of this potato water. I'm gonna decaramelize the pan there. Get all that seasoning and goodness off there. And then I'm just gonna chop these sprouts up real quick. Drop them in. You can cut them however your preference is. I don't mind, except for like the ones with a bigger stem. I will cut those stems off, but outside of that, a quarter I'm gonna have them. I find if you cut them kind of like rings, they cook quicker. So when I say rings, I mean cutting them lengthwise in a circular thing so that they look like that, right? Like a little ring. Rather than kind of quartering them down the center, which is how I used to do it this way, where they kind of look like an orange peel, or an orange wedge, I should say. The problem with that is they don't always cook as evenly, I find. Maybe it's the way I cook them. But overall, surprisingly, my 10-year-old's favorite vegetable is Brussels sprouts. And I remember Brussels sprouts always being like the bane of everybody's existence growing up in the 80s and 90s. It seemed like Brussels sprouts had a real bad name. Like everybody would talk about Brussels sprouts as if that was the vegetable to not try. Like when kids talked about, I don't like my veggies, it was always Brussels sprouts or broccoli, seemingly, right? So I'm gonna get these cut up. They're sauteing, popping this chicken in the oven so that can finish up. I'm gonna increase the heat just a little bit. Finish that chicken up at 400. Got this going here. Bring that back up to a boil. Try and get the seasoning off here. So one of my favorite things to do in the kitchen is the prep work. I often will probably make too many steps for myself because I enjoy all the accoutrement, if you will, that goes along with it, the spices. Using natural ingredients is always fun for me. And one of the things as a single parent that I really enjoy, and I don't know if this rings true with everyone or not, but I find that my sons eat a lot better when they have a part in making the food. So when they get to chop and cut and see how everything's done and be a part of the ingredients and the happenings that are going on with it, they usually eat more. And rather than, like 2 days ago, I think I made turkey burgers and My son was starving when he came in, except he ate like 2 bites of his turkey burger and then put the rest away and tried to get Takis out. So I'm sure that some of us have these same issues. But when I take time to have him cook with me, I don't find that that happens. And I think that that is also really time well spent, because if I'm doing something or prepping and then kind of giving direction, then it allows him a lot of space to do the talking. So we have a lot of good conversations in the kitchen, which I think has always been kind of the meeting place, like breaking bread and where families come together. So I think that's why I also enjoy cooking so much, is because it's very reminiscent of when I was growing up. A lot of our activities took place within the kitchen. Either my grandmother and aunts would be cooking and we would be kind of visiting around the table, or we'd be doing Trivial Pursuit or building jigsaw puzzles. So when you think about vegetables, one thing that I've known to be true over the years is the greener the better. So when you're talking about like what vegetables are good for you, I've always looked at corn as like a throwaway vegetable. I can't wrap my head around how that's good for you when it's just like the same all the time. So I've never really been a corn guy. I guess that many people are. My youngest son, that was his favorite vegetable for quite some time, but I've always looked at corn as a throwaway vegetable. I'm big on the 3 main green veggies. I like Brussels sprouts a lot, spinach a ton, and then of course broccoli. But one thing I've started using a lot lately too, like I did in my last segment, was cauliflower. So now that I've got this here, I'm gonna raise the heat on this. I've got all the browning off the bottom of the pan there. With this induction oven from Wolf, I can really increase and decrease my temperatures super fast, which is really incredible. So like now I wanna bring these up to a boil because they're just about done. They're soft enough to where I can take a plastic ladle and go in there and squish it just about. So I know that's about ready to be done. So then I'm gonna disregard this refuge here and get all this moisture out of these Brussels. And once that all cooks down and I get all that out of there, now they're fully cooked. They still have a little bit of crispness to them, hardiness to them, kind of like a center of a cabbage would, because they're really just like little tiny cabbages, right? And I don't know if you can really see me through the steam. It's like kind of an elusive shot. Does it make me look like a wizard from that end of the camera, Lucas? Like that? I go through it. So I'm gonna add just a little bit of salt to these. Not much. I'm gonna take that Mike's Hot Honey I talked about, and I'm gonna drizzle that around. As you know, honey will caramelize at high temperatures anyway, so I'm gonna put that in first because the raspberry is gonna be my last ingredient. While there's still moisture is why I wanna put this honey in, so that it can kind of soak into the Brussels sprouts a little bit, get into those nooks and crannies. And also that being the primary one, because I don't want the raspberry flavor to take over my seasoning on my Brussels sprouts. So besides salt and Mike's Hot Honey, I'm gonna put a little pepper on those. A lot of pepper. I like pepper. There was a made-for-TV Alice in Wonderland movie when I was a little kid, and it had like a bunch of really famous people in it. I think that Ringo Starr played a sea turtle. J.J. Walker was in there as a lizard. Carol Channing was the White Queen, and she was singing something about, and that's why it reminded us of the Jam, because she was singing some song in there, and it was like, jam tomorrow, jam yesterday. She had a really distinct voice. But I used to watch this over and over again, and there was this one scene in there where these 2 women were trying to catch this pig. I don't know if a pig turned into a baby or the baby turned into a pig, but she was like, more pepper. And if I recall, it was Rita Perlman from Cheers. So whenever I use a lot of pepper, I'm always like, more pepper, more pepper. And they would just laugh about this pepper that they were trying to give this pig or baby to. I don't remember the film that much, but I remember there was pepper in there and I quoted a lot. So I'm gonna let these kind of simmer down a little bit, put a lid over those. We're gonna come back, wrong lid, right time. We're gonna come back, I'm gonna take these out. We're gonna put the finishing touches on with the raspberry jam into the Brussels sprouts. I'm gonna mash these potatoes up, season them, and we're gonna plate our dish because dinner will be done in just one moment. Thank you for staying with us, and we'll be right back.
Man, I want to get in that sweaty goat, Soupy.
No way. That's my sweaty goat. You got the chili goat.
But I want to get in the sweaty goat.
I am more of the sweaty goat, and you are more of the chili goat.
Hey, break it up,
I'm going in the sauna.
Cut it
You
out.
get the chili goat.
You're older than me, fine.
You got it.
Sweaty goat is awesome.
Welcome back, everybody. So we are putting the finishing touches on. So I wanted to let this simmer a little bit. I'm gonna add some raspberry jam to the Brussels sprouts here. I like a lot. Let's put a lot in there. If you're measuring this out at home, it's like 4 teaspoons. I think I used about a half a pound of Brussels sprouts. I've already got a little pepper, put a little more pepper there. Now I'm gonna bring this to a simmer just to kind of melt the jelly. I don't want to caramelize the jelly per se, but I want to melt that jelly down. So let me get that a little bit there. I'm going to take my chicken out of the oven and we're going to plate it. Now first, what I've done here with our potatoes, like I said before too, you can just use a fork or a spoon to mash them up. So what we have in here is those little, what were they called? Jim potatoes? Jewels? Jims? And I'm just going to take my wooden spoon and I'm going to mash. And as I mash them up here, I've left a little bit of water in the bottom because I'm going to use that to smooth them out and cook that moisture out. But what's cool about these is the purple ones really show up purple. So you get a really nice, cool color with your mashed potatoes. I don't know if there's a science to this as far as like, you know it's ready when, but I kind of just do it as timing. I would guess I've had them on there for about 12 minutes at a boil. So, man, I tell you what, one thing I need to start doing is putting the recipes down in the description bar so that if you do think to yourself like, oh man, that looks good, or if you think that looks terrible, you know either what to do or what not to do when you're doing it at home, right? Because watching somebody do something, it might not give you a great idea. Finishing this up here, my mashed potatoes, let that moisture make them smooth. Add a little salt and butter. Salt to the potatoes, some seasoning, boom. And finish it off with a little bit of butter. So I think collectively we've spent probably 20 minutes overall on this meal, primarily because of the chicken. More so than anything, the Brussels sprouts go quick and mashed potatoes are certainly fast. I think the only unhealthy thing that we're really doing in here is adding butter to the potatoes, but you almost have to, right? Who wants butterless potatoes? So I'm gonna mix this around out of that simmering. And my Brussels sprouts. I'm prawning again. I'm oven prawning. Office prawning, oven prawning. I'm gonna try and prevent that. I don't wanna be one of those guys that's walking around real low when I'm older. So these Brussels sprouts are complete. And then how I'm gonna plate this is as my chicken as my primary presentation on my plate. So I'm gonna bring this over here. Already cut, didn't have to do that. And I'm gonna put on some mashed potatoes as a bed for my chicken. And you know, I like chunky mashed potatoes. Some people don't. I also leave the skin on, and some people don't. So whatever your preference is on homemade mashed potatoes, but I like earthy kind of a feel to it. So I'm just gonna scoop these out, put on my bed of mashed potatoes, and see with that skin and that purple potatoes in there, you get a really cool color to it. Like, I mean, your kids will probably think it's fun if they're helping you out, that you have purple potatoes at home. And then we take our chicken, and I'm gonna nestle that in there to keep those cooking. Turn my stove completely off of my induction, and then I'm going to take my Brussels sprouts here and just sprinkle these on, and I'm gonna let some of that juice drip down onto the chicken for added flavor. And put one on top there. Voila. Now we have a quick, easy meal that's actually really, really tasty and hopefully really good for you. So I'm gonna have, let's see, 2 of these plates come and we'll let somebody taste. You wanna taste, because I don't know where I set these utensils. So let me cut this chicken in little pieces. I'll give you guys each a sliver of chicken to taste. Spiced chicken. There and there. Actually, I'm gonna do that one. I'll give you a thinner one. There we go. All right, gentlemen, here, taste this chicken. Lucas, you can walk around and grab a bite of that. Taste that.
It's very good.
Yeah?
Very good.
Sam, what do you think?
Let me see. Thank you. That's very good.
Good?
Very good.
We'll just use this spoon here so you can taste these Brussels sprouts. You've never had Brussels sprouts at all, ever.
Never had them. Never had them.
Okay? Oh, here, use a spoon. I'm not gonna make it eat out of your hand.
Oh, those are really good.
Yeah?
They're really good.
Good.
I've never had them before. That's awesome.
Cool. Well, we converted a young man into the life of vegetables. Excellent, guys. Well, thank you so much. So today we had seasoned chicken breast, hot honey, raspberry Brussels sprouts crisped in a pan, all done on the induction oven cooktop and the induction oven from Wolf. And we are at the beautiful Slyman Brothers Appliances showroom here in Baldwin. Come check them out anytime. We're excited to continue to do cooking shows from this beautiful showroom until later on when we have a big surprise to unveil at the mid of the summer. So have a great night, everyone, and we'll see you next time.